Hey everyone, welcome back. So it's Monday, October 30th. We got one more day in the month to go. I hope you guys had a great weekend. So in this video, we're just going to go over a couple news stories. Well, really one from Core Scientific. They're getting close to their bankruptcy, Chapter 11, being done with that, possibly sometime this end of this year. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll also take a look at obviously how the miners did last week compared to Bitcoin. It's a little bit surprising, but we'll go over it. And then we'll go over also the miners as far as for their Q3 revenue results, possibly what they could be based on my estimates of what they're going to be bringing in. Usually they're pretty close. So we'll take a look at which ones have actually improved their revenues from Q2 and which ones have not. Okay. So it should be pretty quick here. As always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in finding coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the first one here, obviously, which is going to be on Core Scientific. This is going to be quick. So Core Scientific announces agreement in principle with key constituencies in its Chapter 11 cases. Here's what we have. The company ad hoc note holder group and equity committee reach agreement in principle with respect to the economic terms of proposed plan of reorganization. So that's good. Parties expect in the coming days to enter into a binding restructuring support agreement consistent with the restructuring term sheet and to finalize debtors' third amended joint chapter 11 plan of reorganization and related disclosure statements. Wow, that's a mouthful. Company expects to emerge from Chapter 11 by the end of the current calendar year, so that's good. Originally, they were saying at the end of October. It doesn't look like it's going to happen now, but it is going to happen sometime this year. You guys can read the rest of the stuff here and actually go into their website with this link here, and you can read all the details on it. I'm not an expert on restructuring or anything like that, so you guys are more than welcome to take a look at that. Come up with your own conclusions on that. I was trying to see if I can find anything as far as for current shareholders, what that would mean, and I was just lost in the gibberish on it. So if you guys can figure that out, let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate it. All right, so that's it for that one. And let's take a look at the Bitcoin miners here, see what's going on here in the last week on it. Obviously, Bitcoin had a nice rally here last week, and then other miners had an even better week. So we'll take a look at that. And then, as always, this chart here on the green bars, we see how far the miners are up from their 52-week lows and how far away they are from the 52-week highs on the red bars. All right, we can see Bitcoin's up 117% so far year to date. It looks like within the last 52 weeks. From its 52-week lows, it's only down 3.5% from its 52-week highs, so it's pretty close. Whereas the other miners you can see are still far, far away from that. The ones that have done worse so far this year in the last 52 weeks, it's Hive. Hive is only up 116%, TeraWolf 107%, Sphere 94%, Mawson 58%, BitDeer's up 36%. Obviously, the best performer here was Core, followed by Cypher, DigiHost, BitDigital, Argo, Iris, and so on. Okay, but all those companies have done better so far. If we quickly just look at the 1 week performance here, so this is for last week. This is from Friday to Friday as we do it each time. We can see here that Bitcoin was up 14.24% on the week, whereas Sphere was up 61%. Cypher was up 27, almost 28. Argo was up 25.5. BitDeer was up 18%. DMG was up almost 15%. So those are the ones that have gotten beaten down the most here, it seems like, over the last 12, 13 weeks or so. And they have actually bounced the most here because of that. So my thoughts on that is, it looks like there was some bottom fishing going on by investors trying to find some needle in the haystack, ones that could possibly pop the most. Obviously, these guys did pop. But going forward, I don't know how well they're going to do going forward. There's some concerns for all of these except for maybe BitDeer. BitDeer's just been beaten down ever since it's been gone public this year. Okay, and then we got obviously Marathon after Bitcoin here, Core, Hut 8, DigiHost, Bitfarms, Riot, CleanSpark, Mawson, Iris, TeraWolf, and BitDigital, and Hive were the actual two that were down for the week, which was surprising considering that Bitcoin was up quite nicely. So those guys are definitely lagging behind here. If we look at the 8-week chart as well, and we'll do that here quickly. Let's sort this ascending. We'll go here. We can see here that BitDeer is actually down 51%, right? BitDeer was one of the ones that was up here last week. That's why. We also saw Sphere 3D having a nice pop here in the last, from 4 weeks ago, being up 55%. Bitcoin's up 21%. Cypher is another one that's up 24%. And then the rest have pretty much underperformed Bitcoin here, with the worst one being BitDeer being down 51%. It's a huge drop from where they were. Then Iris, obviously, 7% or so. BitDigital, 7%. Hive, 5%. TeraWolf, 5%. Riot, down 3%. Core, down 1.6% roughly. So you can see how this stacks up from 4 weeks ago. If we look at 8 weeks now, take a look at that as well really quick. You can see here that Bitcoin from that point is actually up 30% from 8 weeks ago. The only one that's done close to as good as Bitcoin has been Sphere 3D, right? One of the ones that has been beaten down here. DigiHost 25%, DMG up 12.3, Cypher up 10.3, Mawson up 7.9, almost 8. Argo is down, up 7.2. And then the rest of them have been beaten down here. BitDeer again being down the most here, followed by TeraWolf, Iris, Marathon, Riot, Hive, Core, Bitfarms, CleanSpark, Hut 8, and BitDigital. Right, some of the ones that are the bigger players here, like Marathon, Riot, have really gotten beaten down here, which is surprising, along with Iris. So that's kind of the way we're looking at it right now. And then from 12 weeks ago, if we look at it here, we can see here that Bitcoin is up 15.35%, while everybody else is down, with BitDeer being down 70% from 12 weeks ago. All right, so that's why they had a pop here in the last week. TeraWolf being down 56, Iris down 43, BitDigital down 42, Marathon down 40, Mawson down 38, Riot down 37, Hive down 37, CleanSpark down 36. So quite the change that we've seen here. And I've said this in other videos. I think this is just basically because we're getting close to the halving event in about 5 to 6 months. And we saw this last time around where Bitcoin was actually going up in price before the halving event while the miners were going down, because you get a cut, you get basically the supply in Bitcoin being awarded to these guys in revenue. It gets cut in half. So basically your revenue gets cut in half from 1 minute to the next when that halving event happens. So I think just the investors are taking that into account and discounting a lot of these miners here because of that, right? Bitcoin would need to be basically, we're at 35, 34,000, somewhere around there right now. Bitcoin need to be basically double where it was back then, so around 60, 65,000 in order for the miners to be back to where they were about 12 weeks ago in price. At least that's my thinking on it. All right, here's how things have stacked up so far. Week over week, here you can see how this heat map looks like. Then if we look at it over here, we're starting to see a little bit more green days for the miners, which is good. We've had 2 weeks in a row here. Prior to that, we had like 11, 12 weeks in the red out of the 13 or so that we had. So I'm starting to look a little bit better for the miners here. We'll see if this trend continues going forward. October seems to be a pretty good month for miners and Bitcoin in general. And we'll see we have the same thing with November. November typically is a better month even than October is as far as gains here. So we'll see how November comes in and if we maybe get to 38, 40,000 in Bitcoin in November here in a couple of days. All right, so that's it for that one. And now all we're going to do is really just take a look at the miners, each individual one, and see if their Q3 numbers are better than their Q2 numbers, right? So this is for the quarter ending in September. So Argo's going to be at bat first here. We'll just do it alphabetically in no particular order. And if we look down here, we can see here, I believe that's the, well, let's take a look at the numbers here. Actually, right over here, because this is where we have it. So the numbers in September look like they're going to be about 10.3 million for Argo. In Q2, they were 12.7. So their revenue is down. We know Bitcoin was also down a little bit here during that time frame a little bit as well. It was still up overall, but they haven't been growing. That's one of the reasons. And the network hash rate has been increasing. So that's the reason why we're seeing the reduction in Bitcoin for them, or the revenue for them side of things. Okay, so that's Argo. So Argo is obviously down from Q2. BitDeer's a little bit tricky one because they have so many different business segments. So it's going to be hard. We're only going to look at their self-mining revenue potentially. On this one, they're going to possibly have a lot more to include in this, so bear that in mind. And here's what we have for them. Where is it? Right there. So with BitDeer, we only have really the prior Q2 numbers, and it looks like they're going to be up because they did grow their hash rate quite nicely here to 7.2 exahash from 7.8 that they had, or 3.8, sorry. So that increased. That should help increase their revenue for self-mining, which we had them at that point. What was it? At 52, it looks like hosting self. We had that at estimated 20 million. So this time around is going to be around 29 million. Obviously, they don't break it down. They include it all, I believe, into one thing. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I do believe that their self-mining is going to be up higher from where it was. That's because they have grown their hash rate. Okay. So that's good there for them. Next one is BitDigital here. BitDigital should be, let's take a look at it here. For September, it's going to be actually up. So September, the ending quarter, they should be up at about 11.3 million compared to 8.9. That is a nice increase there from where they were. And the main reason is also they did install more miners here. It got a little bit more efficient on things. So that's the reason why they're having the increase. Plus, we obviously saw Bitcoin kind of go up a little bit here as well. Not much, but at least up a little bit from where it was. So that was good to see. Bitfarms here, looking at Bitfarms now, we'll take a look. Bitfarms looks like it's going to be down a little bit here from the 34.2 million that they had in June down to September to 32 million. They did grow a little bit here, not much. They went from 5.3 exahash at the end of June to 6.1. So what is that about? Oh, geez, I'm trying to do the math here in my head. But what is it? 8? No, not even 8. 7. Yeah, that's 8. 800 petahash increase. Still a nice increase, but still revenues down here for them. I wonder if that's got anything to do with days. No, they were mining pretty much for the full amount of days here, it looks like. So it's not that. I think it's just the network hash rate has increased more than they actually increased their hash rate. Okay, so that's that one. Cypher here. Cypher, looking at Cypher right now. Cypher came in at 31.2 million in revenue. I have them at 31.3, so it might be a slight beat on that. They did increase here by about, what is that, 500 petahash or something like that. But I think their uptime has increased as well, which is helping them out on this part of it, okay? So they do look like they might possibly beat it just slightly, but they are going to be possibly beating it. We'll have to see what their numbers come in at, but might be even or a little bit less. But right now I have them at above where they were in Q2. CleanSpark, going down to CleanSpark here, we can see CleanSpark came in at 45.4 million. I have them at 52.5 million right now for Q3. They did install quite a bit here. They installed approximately, what is that, 2.9 exahash or something like that by the end. Yeah, 2.3, and then you got 3 more or 6 more added here. So yeah, 2.9 exahash increased over the Q3 numbers, or in the Q3. So that's definitely going to give them a boost here to 52.5 million. So that's going to be a good beat there as well on the revenue from Q2. Core Scientific, look at that one really quick. They came in at 97 million for Q2, which was a pretty good quarter for them, obviously. But it is trending downwards to 83 million here in Q3. Main reason is not a lot of machines being added, right? They actually went down in exahash instead of going up a little bit here, based on my numbers here at least. All right, so that's going to be definitely on the downside of things. Next, DigiHost. DigiHost, looking at their numbers here, they're going to be at approximately 5.5. So that does look like they're going to be beat it a little bit here. They had 5.3 in Q2, and they did install a little bit of hash rate here, which should help them out. I'm trying to see if there's anything that really would show us as far as their uptime did improve here towards the end of the last 2 months in the quarter, August and September. So that was good to see, and that's possibly why that's improving for them on that one. Okay. Next one is the DMG. DMG for the Q2 came in at 5.4. For Q3, it looks like they're going to be about 4 million. So 1.4 million in less than in Q2 on that one. And they did curtailed quite a bit here in July, August as well. September was a little bit better month for them, but overall, a lot of that curtailment there. That could be the reason why. Also, not much growth here. They only grew by about 300 petahash roughly. Network hash rate obviously increased more than their increase here, so that's the reason why. Next one is going to be on Hive. Let's see here. Hive was at 23,344,000. So we're going to be pretty close to that. We got them at 23,304,000. They did increase their hash rate by about 500 petahash or so, but they're always very efficient. They also do mining with the GPUs that they still have available to mine cryptocurrencies on that. That always helps them out. So they're going to be pretty close to being even if we get close to that. So it might be, we'll have to see. It might be even, or it might be a little bit of a beat here. A slight, very, very slight beat. But we'll see on that one. Next, Hut 8 here, really quick. If you look at Hut 8, I have them at, let's see here. In June, quarter ending, Q2, they were 11.18 million. Now I have them at 9.2. Obviously, no growth here for them as far as hash rate increase has been concerned. They have been adding to the HODL stack, but that's about it. And we've seen their numbers have been coming down here over the last couple of quarters, which is not a good sign. Obviously, we need them to merge with USBTC, get things situated, and hashing at a much higher hash rate than they are currently to start driving revenues up again on that one. Next is Iris Energy. Iris right now looks like they're going to be at about 34.4 million. That is going to be down from the 35.05, which with them it's a little bit interesting as well, because they also have a joint venture, I believe, with somebody, if I'm not mistaken, and they include those numbers in it as well. So that's why things are off. At least for me, they were off on it. But so we'll have to see on this one. This one's going to be kind of tricky to tell if we're going to be close or not. I think they're going to be down a little bit here. Their hash rate has stayed the same, so not much change there. So that would expect the revenue to come down as well. And then let's see here. They didn't curtail, looks like they didn't curtail really any in July, August, and September. Just maybe a little bit here, but barely. So their production might be down, and that doesn't also include, like I said, their joint venture, which I believe they're a part of as well on that one. Okay. Next one is going to be, let's see who's next. Next one should be Marathon. Marathon right now looks like they're going to be at approximately 81 million here, 600,000. Prior to that, and let me see here, June. Oh, so sorry. Q2 numbers was 81 million. Q3 numbers look like they're going to be about 97 million. So that's definitely going to be a nice beat for them. They obviously installed quite a bit more here hash rate, which is good. And that's the result for it, right? As long as your hash rate is growing faster than network hash rate, you're going to be able to generate more revenue because of that. It also depends where Bitcoin is. But Bitcoin has been kind of flat in those months here. Gone up a little bit, but mostly flat. But they were able to grow much more faster than the network hash rate. Hence, the revenue is going up. So that's good there. Mawson also does hosting and things like that, so it's going to be hard to tell. But just looking at their self-mining here, it's going to be a nice little increase here for them to 6.8 million from 4.9 roughly. That is going to be obviously a beat here by almost 2 million here, so that's good. Their hash rate, however, has stayed the same. The only difference is that they have improved on their efficiency as far as uptime is. In July, they were running about 19.68 days per month. August, 25.78, and then in September, 26.99, so that obviously helps. The more you run, the more you're able to generate in revenue here. Okay. Next one's going to be Riot. Let's see here. Riot, where are we at here? Combined July. Okay. So June ending quarter, we were at 49.8 million here. It looks like. And we're waiting on, let me see here. September Q3 number should be about 31 million. So definitely a lot lower, but they had so much in credits here for the electricity, so that's going to offset a lot of those negative revenue, but decline in revenue. They're going to be a lot more profitable with the machines they did run when they did run them, so that should offset things otherwise. Okay, so always take that into account with them, and it is a little bit harder to track what they actually should be because they do curtail quite a bit on that one. So even though it's not a beat here on revenue side, it might be on profit side. Okay, might be a really good profitable period for them. Sphere, take a look at that one as well. Sphere came in on Q2 at 4.9 million. They're going to be about 5 million here. So a slight beat here by about maybe 100,000 or so more than they did in Q2. So that's good there. And then let me take a look at TeraWulf. TeraWulf down here looks like they're going to beat it as well. So in Q2, they were at 25.3 million. This time around, they're looking at about 27.7 million as well. So it's going to be about 2.5 million beat, something like that. So that'll be good for them. Stronghold, lastly, here is also kind of, well, not really difficult, but we'll try to see what we can figure out on them. They reported 13.782 million. I'm at 17.422. I think they also report their Bitcoin at approximate, like 20% of the hosting or something like that was part of it as well. And so I have them actually at 13.7 based on the 20%, I guess you could say, removing the 20% that was from hosting prior to that in the prior month, because I was way off. I had them in Q2 numbers at 17 million. They came in at 13.7, so that was a big difference there. I was trying to figure out why that was, and that was because they do host machines as well, and they were reporting the hosting BTC that they generated on it as their BTC for self-mining, basically. That's why the numbers are off. So I'm guessing they're going to be pretty much close to where they were before, maybe a little bit up. Their hash rate has increased, so that should generate more for them. So that should be less of a percentage for hosting than it is for self-mining. Hope that makes sense. All right, but that's kind of the way things should come in at. So all in all, for the most part, it looks like the majority of the miners should be at least on the plus side of things comparing to Q2, with the exception of a couple here. But overall, the miners should be up on that. And then we'll just have to see where things go going forward on it, all right? We are going to start getting, obviously, the miners reporting their quarterly results here possibly next week. In about 2 days, we're going to start getting results for the October numbers as well. We'll plug that information in. We'll see how they did, how they grew, and everything else. And we'll report all on it. And we'll take a look at Bitcoin right now, see what's going on with Bitcoin as well. Here, let me see here. Let me see if I can find Bitcoin here really quick. There it is. Okay. So here's Bitcoin. It is up. at 34,471 right now. We're looking at the weekly chart here. We obviously had a nice week. We did have the last 2 days we were up. This current day, which hasn't ended yet, we've got what, 28 minutes left in it. We're down a little bit here, not much. The markets otherwise had a pretty good day here. The S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ were all up today above 1%. So that was good. The miners were, however, mixed today as well, which was kind of surprising to see. Bitcoin was up in the morning. But, we're getting into this kind of tumultuous time where it's going to be up and down until we get closer to having an event, and then we get the Bitcoin spot ETF and everything else. It's just going to be dragging out for a while, I think, here. I still think, like I originally thought to the beginning of this year, that we might get to 38,000. We're obviously pretty close to that. We're at 35,000, right around there. So we'll see how much it goes up higher than what I thought at 38,000, which is, I'm got to be honest, I'm surprised that it's come this close to it. I thought 38,000 was going to be a wild shot in the beginning based on the data that I did on where Bitcoin was last cycles, how much it went up and everything else. And I kind of said right around 38,000 was where I would see it, plus or minus, 10, 20%, something like that from there. So we might be right within that range, which is kind of interesting and fascinating at the same time. Also, what else we got going on? Bitcoin miner updates, like I said, for October coming up. The Q3 results will be coming out as well. So there's going to be a lot of updates happening here in the next couple weeks. If you guys are interested in this type of stuff, hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell. That way you get notified when I do post something new on it. And then we'll see what kind of metrics we can run on the miners as far as which one performed better in Q3 than the others. We'll run some metrics on the October numbers as well. And we'll take a look at other things as well that we always do. All right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, or actually a wonderful evening because it's late already. And then, as always, the spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members. That's still $5 a month for you guys if you guys want access to that. And that gets updated regularly by me. All right, so that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.